Right then, my oads, you join me on the start of parts bag C, which is, wow, a whopping step 18 to 32. So yes, I definitely think this is going to be a two-parter, but where to stop I don't know. I may just have to make up and overdub stuff. So we're going to get on with the differential gears, and we've got to make two up, obviously, one for each axle. And you can do this option to lock the diffs. Now in the past I've done this, but I've locked both front and rears, but this time I'm going to try just locking the rear. So I'm going to show you that one, because you don't need any grease for this one. So we've got two great big washers to go in, the crown gear, or sun gear I think some people might call them. Then we've got this locking stuff. So the one piece goes on there, and what are they? They're C7s. And the other one goes like so. Then another crown gear and another washer, and then we close the metal differential with these screws that I can't pick up. 2 by 8mm screws, 1, 2 and 3, and then, so I don't mistakenly install the rear locked dip into the front axle, I'm going to mark it up. But we will carry on doing all of this and join you once I've finished for the next step 19. Step 19, making up the front drive shafts. So we've got two here, look. Slip together inside the diff probably. And just before we start, we've got the two diffs, and I've marked an R in front, or R and F, so that I know which one's the locked one. So first things first, I'm going to risk it and try and put these rather large E-clips on, and hopefully I won't have as much of a problem with these, he says. Yay! Yep. And then we need to pop two bearings on. And as you can see, it tells you to grease, but I've got the proper ball bearings, so I'm not going to bother. And the same for the other side. There we go. And the bearings, and that's 19 done eventually. There we go. And just to show you, there are two flats on each side of the drive shafts, and they slot together. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I'll put AW grease in the front diff to give you something like a sort of limited slip diff, but there we go. So let's crack on to 20. Step 20 is making up the front axle housing And to start with, we need the front diff and the two drive shafts. So I'm going to pop this one in there. I don't know if you noticed, but I greased the end bit, and then we've got to line these bearings up, and the one goes there and the other one goes somewhere around about there. Into a bit. Come on. That's it. And something similar on this side, but it's closer to the diff. And that's that part of it done. The next part is putting in this prop shaft joint. So we need an 1150 bearing, and then this bevel gear, as they call it, and it goes on like so, and then the 850 bearing, and again we need to pop it in place. Oops, there we go. And then before we go on anymore, I'll grease these two gears up and come back to you in a bit. Okay, so we're now ready to finish. Gone round and greased the differential and bevel gears. But before we continue, there's a note here about these two nuts that you've got to put in, and it says note direction. And I'm not really too sure why they've got it, the note, because I don't think these nuts fit any other way. There we go. And then again I've gone round and greased some of the bits. In fact, I really ought to grease these bits. There we go, just to be on the safe side. And then that should just slot over like so. And then we've got a great big long one, two little 3M1s, M3, whatever they're called. Go there and there, and the long one goes there, and then we've got these 2mm by 12 that go right there. So yet again, I won't bore you with the tightening of those screws up, so I will join you in a moment. 21 is attaching the axle housing pivots front. Again, I think it's for the 4-link suspension, and I've already done possibly the top two, I don't know yet. But yes, I've already done C15 and C16. And then what you do then is you turn the axle around, and then you look at C17, and you won't be able to see, and I don't know if I'll be able to zoom in enough for you to see, but there's actually a C there, so you know then that that goes on there like so, and it's held in place with these massive 15mm self-tappers. And then we've got the same for C18. And then if we turn it over, so we're back to this way, we've got two 5mm ball joints to screw into, I believe, those nuts that we installed earlier. It says, yeah, it's just about going in. And yeah, it's quite tight. So I'll get on with tightening all of them up now, and we can jump to 22. Step 22 is installing the uprights, it says here, but I'd say they're the steering knuckles and part of the steering bracketry. So we've got the axle. We need to install the output shaft into a steering knuckle and then attach it like that with a couple of king pins. Tamiya just call them step screws, but hey. And then t'other one goes in to there, like that, and then we've got this rather long 27mm thing, screw, that's the word I was looking for, which pops through this ball joint that you've had to put in here. It doesn't mention about the other side, so I'm not doing that yet. Then this spacer, and then according to this it screws into there, and that's a lot of screwing. So again, we'll just start it off, and then we do the same for the other side. We've got two of these massive 1510 bearings, and again, and then we come to this B5, which joins the two Dubry firkins together, and we're using self-tapping step screws for this, so it goes in there, if you can line it up. And then the other one will go in the outermost one on this side. And there we go, job's a good one. I'll just go around and tighten all of them up and we can move on. Step 23 is attaching the front arms, or full link suspension as some people call it, and I do, and I can't find my tools. There we go. Right, so it tells you to get 2 off of J8 and J5, and then 8 off of C9, which are the plastic ball joints. And there's a note to remove the tabs, so I've done that as best as I can. And then you pop it on like so, and get your pliers and pop it in. And I do the same for the second one. We then need to screw them in and make a note of which ones go where. So I've done one of the top ones or the bottom ones, I'm not too sure at the minute. but it's these ones. Now for these, weirdly, because they're machine screws and the hole on this side isn't big enough for it to pass through, so you've got to screw it through, I do suggest you basically start the screw off and then locate the ball joint and rod, and then line it up as best as you can. And I think as you screw this in, it does, if you're slightly off, it does locate it, and then you just keep going until it's tightened up. And the same with this side, that goes on there. Again, note the orientation of the rod or bar, so it goes like so. And then the last job is, if you can find the bits, forgot all about them, are these, is this, what do they call it again? A screw pin for step 24. So I'll get on and do that. As you can see, it just pops through there. So I'll get on and finish them off and come back to you. Okay, so there we have one front axle all ready to go onto the chassis, and I think I'm going to leave it there for this video, because we've still got another 10 or so steps to do, I think, to build up the rear axle. So I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one for building up the rear axle and hopefully finishing parts bag C. Thanks for watching. Bye.